Listen, most creators have no idea that the reason they're not making money isn't because of their content. It's because their offer sucks. You can post 100 times per week, hire the best video editors, and even have great engagement. But if your offer doesn't make people feel stupid for not buying, you'll always be begging for clients instead of them wishing to work with you. And I know you've probably watched a dozen of how to build an offer videos, but here's why this one is different. I'm not teaching from theory or recycled Alex Hormozi clips. I'm teaching from proof. I've built $1,500 one-time offers, $3,000 per month coaching offers, $5,000 per month coaching offers, and I've scaled my school community to 350 plus paying members. And I've also helped founders package what they know into lucrative running businesses. So if you're tired of guessing what makes people buy and want to build something that sells itself, I want you to stay till the end of the video. By the time that this video ends, you'll learn exactly how to diagnose a weak offer, fix it, and then turn it into something irresistible. Okay, so let's get started. The biggest issue that I've seen with coaches, consultants, and creators is they don't sell outcomes, they try to sell their offer. So the first step that you need to go through is pretty simple, and that is to determine your tangible help statement. This is super important, and a lot of creators don't actually put themselves through this uncomfortable work to actually determine their tangible help statement. Because if you don't have a tangible help statement, you don't exactly know what transformation you're selling to your prospective customers. And another mistake which a lot of creators will make is that they'll spend too much time, optimizing the offer when they don't even know clearly what problem are they solving for the market. The biggest people in the info industry don't have the most creative offers. They just sell clear transformations. And for that, you really need to dial in what exact person you're solving the problem for, what problem you're exactly solving. Is that problem a bleeding neck problem? And how much time are you going to take to get the customer to their desired outcome? And what specific framework are you going to use in order to get your customer their desired outcome? All of these things are super important. So first, let's talk about the person that you will be helping. As an example, if you're someone that helps entrepreneurs basically become more productive, so your target audience is essentially high-level entrepreneurs. Let's say you want to sell productivity systems to high-level entrepreneurs because you want to charge high ticket. So in that case, your person or ideal customer profile would be high-level entrepreneurs. In that case, if your ideal customer is high-level entrepreneurs, you need to exactly know what goals, what problems, what fears, and what desires does this ICP face that you're going to essentially target your offer towards. Then you need to identify the problem. What problem are you exactly solving? And is it a bleeding neck problem? And in entrepreneurs' case, as an example, if you're a productivity coach that helps high-level executives and founders and high-level coaches and consultants who have like pretty valuable time, if you're going to be saving them 20 hours per week, and let's say if they make $100,000 per month, they make approximately $3,000 per day. And let's say these high-level entrepreneurs work for 6 hours a day. That means that their hour is worth $500, right? So if you can help them save 20 hours per week using your specific productivity hacks or productivity system, that means that you're solving a problem that is worth $10,000, right? So you can charge this in a variety of ways, in a 6-week program, on a monthly retainer, or something along these lines. And you can charge at least this amount from them. So if you didn't actually go through this process of actually identifying the person that you're going to be saving 20 hours per week for a high-level entrepreneur, and you didn't position yourself as someone who solves problem for that demographic of people, what you will end up doing is you will be selling the right system to the wrong kind of people, and you won't be able to charge this much. Right? So that is why it is so important to identify the person that you're going to be solving the problem for. And in this case, the problem is a bleeding neck problem. Because imagine if they could, save 20 hours per week, that's going to be a pretty valuable thing for them. And if you can, save them $10,000 worth of time, per month, that just means they can make an extra $120,000 per year, which is pretty valuable for them. You have to determine that how long are you going to exactly take in order to get your ideal customer into their desired outcome. Then you need to identify the framework as well. So as an example, if you were to name your framework the whiteboard method, So in that case, now you've exactly come to the exact conclusion that what your help statement is and who your offer is going to be specifically targeted towards. So with all of this data, we can come to the conclusion that you help entrepreneurs or high-level entrepreneurs save 20 hours per week within 6 weeks using the whiteboard method. Now there's one specific area of the help statement which is still left, which we're going to be covering in one of the later points. But now we have this base help statement to work with, and as we go through the later points, I'm going to be telling you what this exactly is. So the next point we're going to be talking about is clarity beats creativity. I see a lot of creators make this mistake that they spend too much time initially on the product. They'll try to optimize it so much that I want to have the right kind of cheat sheets in here. I need to have the right kind of templates in here. I need to have the right kind of course content here. When what you have to realize is that if, as an example, because I've personally noticed this in myself as well, that when I purchase programs, I tend to spend a lot less time consuming the course material or going through the templates or going through the cheat sheets, but I'll only be there to just speak to the founder and get my problems resolved as soon as possible. So as an example, with this imaginary scenario that we created, that you help entrepreneurs save 20 hours per week within 6 weeks using the whiteboard method, excluding this specific part, which we'll be talking about in one of the later points. But if this is your help statement and you're helping high-level CEOs and high-level entrepreneurs basically save 20 hours per week, I want you to genuinely ask this question from yourself, that if you were to package this whole program and, as an example, sell it for, let's say, $997. I know we spoke about a $10,000 program, but that was for a 6-week program which would involve this course and your coaching as well. So if you were to sell this course as a standalone course, I want you to genuinely ask yourself that even if 100 people, 100 high-level entrepreneurs bought this course, and this course was, a cumulative 6-hour course, how many of those 100 entrepreneurs are going to watch that 6-hour course? Probably not a lot. Maybe 10, and that even may be an optimistic number. The point I'm trying to run home here is that people want to buy and consume courses the least, because most founders will just want to spend time with the founder of that program and get their problem resolved as soon as possible with as little effort as possible. And if you're adding the friction of them consuming a 6-hour course for getting their problem resolved, they might end up buying it, but they won't consume the content, they won't give you a case study, they won't give you a testimonial, and at the end of the day, your business is just going to suffer, it's not going to flourish. So instead of spending so much time on the product, why not spend more time on the result? So initially, what I want you to do is, I want you to not work on the product whatsoever. I just want you to work on the result. How can you get them the result with the least amount of effort from your end and with the least amount of effort from your customer's end as well? The answer to that would be just sell Zoom calls. Sell Zoom calls. And initially, get your first 3 to 5 clients. Try to get them the best results possible. Treat them as good as you can. Get them as good results as possible, and then record all of the calls from your program, right? If this is your 6-week program, and you record all of the calls that you've held with all of your customers, and then I want you to transcribe them. Once you transcribe them, then I want you to use that data in order to then create this product. Because if you were to create this product without this data, what's going to end up happening is maybe they don't need the cheat sheets. Maybe they don't need the course content. Maybe all they need is just templates. Or maybe they might not need cheat sheets, they might not need templates, but they might need course content. This is something that you're going to iterate and find out as you go through the program. So initially, I want you to just only focus on selling something which is the minimum viable product, which gets your client or ideal customer profile the result as soon as possible with as little effort as possible. And don't get all nerdy with creating the best kind of product initially. Okay, only ask yourself that, go through the stages which I personally told you in the earlier point, that what is the exact person that you're trying to get this problem solved for? What problem is he exactly facing? How much time is it going to take you in order to solve that problem for them? What exact framework are you going to be using? Once you've determined that, then don't get all nerdy with building the product. First, focus on selling the product to at least 3 to 5 people and sell the minimal viable product. Sell the calls, sell the Zoom calls, sell unlimited WhatsApp access. When you start doing that, you're selling the result, you're not selling a nerdy product. And when you get the data from those calls, you're going to use that data to then go all nerdy and create the product as you go. Because if you were to spend all this time in order to build this product, and when you started selling, then you couldn't sell it to anyone, then that effort would just absolutely go unwasted. So this is what I want you to genuinely follow, that initially just sell Zoom calls. And this is especially applicant to those of you guys who are selling high ticket programs. So I want you to not get all nerdy with the product and only focus on selling the minimal viable product first. Create a mess with it, try to give your customers the best service possible. But generally you're selling the minimal viable product and then getting the data and using that data in order to then go all nerdy and build the whole product. And then what you're going to be doing is, if you're selling this 6-week program, so initially you were just selling Zoom calls. But then what you're going to be doing as you go along with it, and when you have the data, you're going to be packaging this as an example, a group program plus the nerdy course that you've built. Okay, and you could sell this as a one-on-one DFY program plus, let's say, the nerdy course as well. So that's where the course comes in, because a lot of people get too obsessed with the whole course creation. But I don't want that to be the case for you, because I know that's just going to end up in discouragement for you if the course doesn't sell. And I want you to genuinely initially only focus on building the minimal viable product, use it to gather all the data from your existing customers and use that data to then prepare your complete nerdy product and then package that nerdy product into your minimal viable product and then create your killer offer. So next we're going to be talking about why your offer isn't just a product, it's a system. So as with, continuing with the same example, let's say I was this coach, and I sold my first 3 to 5 calls or 3 to 5 slots, and I sold Zoom calls initially. Then I got the data and now I've built out the entire course as well. Okay, I've built out my entire nerdy course, I've built out my templates, I've built out my cheat sheets, and I've even added a community in there. Okay, I've added a community in there as well. So now what I'm going to do is, when I'm basically positioning my product, I'm only going to, as an example, if I was charging 10K for this offer, I'm going to be positioning this as it's 10K for the program, which is the Zoom calls. Okay, this is let's say group help with me, or it's my group program, or it's one-on-one, whichever is the case for you. And then what I'm going to do is, you get the templates for free. Here's the outcome that you can expect as a result of these templates. You get the course for free. This is what outcome you're going to get as a result of this course. You get the community for free. And here's what you get as a result of this community. And I'm going to add all of this and position it as, something that they'll get for absolutely free. And then another lever that you need to have is something which you can integrate into adding scarcity. As an example, if you were on a sales call with someone and you wanted to sell them that product on that call, what you're going to do is you're going to offer this, okay? First, you're going to position yourself as someone who just sells this, and then you're going to say that you get all of this for free. And if they're, meeting with some resistance that I'm going to purchase it after a week or after 2 weeks, what you're going to say is, as an added bonus, if you purchase right now on this call, I'll add another bonus, okay? And this is how you can push a little bit more urgency into the system. So as with the earlier point that we were talking about, your offer isn't a product, it's a system. And when you create this whole thing, this is going to turn into a system. But another point which I need to reiterate is, you're not going to be building this entire system initially. You're only going to be selling 3 to 5, you're going to get 3 to 5 clients inside of your program, use the data, then create the whole system, and then package it into one offer. Another thing is that your system needs to be relieving them of an additional point of friction when getting them to their desired outcome. As an example, back with this example, I help entrepreneurs save 20 hours per week within 6 weeks using the whiteboard method without, and here you will add a point of friction. For example, with my offer, I help coaches, creators and consultants increase 10,000 followers while 2xing their business revenue within 90 days using the authority hacking framework, which I used to gain 315,000 followers within 365 days while only working once a week. So notice how I integrated while only working once a week. So this is a problem that my ICP is probably going to be facing while creating their content, that they don't want to be recording every single day. So in my case, I'm positioning this offer as something which gets them to only work once a week and still get the results. And in the same way, you're going to be positioning your offer as something which basically saves them from another point of friction. And the point of friction in my case is, working more than once a week. So this is something that you need to take into consideration, that your offer isn't just simply a nerdy product, it's a system. And you need to package and position your system in the correct way in order to get the most people buying your product and to get the most people getting good results from your product as well. By the way, if you're enjoying this video and you're a coach, creator or consultant and you want me to help you gain 10,000 followers while 2xing your business revenue within 90 days using the authority hacking system, which I personally used to gain 315,000 followers on Instagram within 365 days while only working once a week, you can click the link down in the description to get the link to work with me. Okay, so next we're going to be talking about the fact that the price probably isn't the problem for you right now. It's most probably the positioning or the perceived value. Now, what am I exactly meaning with this exact notion? Now, let's talk about the positioning first. If I were to take this as example again, that you help entrepreneurs save 20 hours per week within 6 weeks using the whiteboard method without a point of friction, I want to genuinely ask you that if you were to take entrepreneurs out of the equation here, and if you were to position this offer in front of generalized customers, not positioning it in front of high level executives, and if you were to sell this offer to the mass populace, do you think you could charge 10K for it? Probably not, right? And this is most probably the case which is happening for you right now as well. If you're not getting closes as effectively, it's most probably because you're positioning the product in front of the wrong kind of people. Because for someone who isn't making as much as the high level executive, and their time isn't worth $10,000, and you're not saving them $10,000 worth of time, then it's not going to be worth it for them to buy this product. But for someone who's going to be, gaining $10,000 or more in terms of time back, in that case, it's going to be 100% worth it for them. So I want you to go back to the drawing board here and ask yourself that, am I positioning my offer in front of the right kind of people? Or do I need to rethink things a little bit? The second thing is the perceived value. So as I told you in one of my previous points, that you need to make sure that when you're basically selling your program, as an example, you're selling, a group coaching program for $3,000, a group coaching program. Okay. Now you need to add a little bit of bonuses here. Once, as I said before, you've gathered the data from your first 3 to 5 customers, you're going to add a little bit of bonuses here that you get a community, right? You get the templates, so on and so forth, along with the outcomes that they'll be getting as a result of it, to basically reiterate the point home. And I noticed that Iman Gadzhi did this really effectively recently when he was selling Monetize, that he not only, sold his program, what he did was he sold Monetize for 2K. Okay. Then he added Synthesize AI for free. He added a really good guarantee with it that if it doesn't get you results within 60 days, our team is going to work with you for free until you do get your first result. And he added a ton of other bonuses. And when he was pushing this program, in the end stages, what he did was he also introduced an option of a 2-pay. So as you can see, his launch was pretty successful, and the reason for that was that he integrated a lot of these bonuses into the offer, even though all of this combined was worth $2,000, but he was positioning it as only the program is for $2,000. All of these things are basically free. So this reiterates the point and runs it a little bit home that yes, this is the product for me, and yes, investing in it is probably going to be a good move for me. So you need to essentially make sure that your positioning is in front of the right kind of people with your specific offer, and the perceived value is specifically illustrated as well. What I like to do on my community as well is that I like to add all of the courses and their names in the about page copy. And what I do is I add basically, this is worth $997, this is worth $497, this is worth $497, this is worth $197, and you can get all of this for, let's say, $99 per month. So the reason this is so effective is because they're getting a clear outlook of all of the value that they're getting. And in that case, it makes it a little bit easier for them to make the decision of pulling out their credit card and making that payment to you. Okay, finally, I'm going to be giving a free template to you in which you can basically determine what your offer essentially entails, what exact results you're going to be getting to your prospective clients, and what exact guarantees to integrate, how to integrate scarcity and urgency. And I'm going to be going through these points real quick to make this short and sweet. So as I stated earlier, I want you to go through this template that you help person get result within duration using specific framework without pain. As an example, I help postpartum moms lose 20 pounds within 9 weeks using the PP method without working out more. Or I help busy executives lose 20 pounds within 9 weeks using the ISE framework without keeping a check on their diet, something along those lines. So your offer needs to be ultra specific. And another point is your offer needs to be positioned in third layers. So as an example, if this layer is just fitness and this layer is fitness for moms, and this layer is fitness for postpartum moms, you need to be making sure that you're positioned here, because today's market is all about intentional personal brands and intentional offers. Here, because you're solving an ultra specific problem, you can charge more and you can solve that problem for them much more effectively. And if you've positioned yourself in this third layer, you might be thinking that this might not be the most lucrative for you, but I want you to just ask yourself a few questions before getting too worked up that no, this is going to be too small of a niche. What is your third layer's TAM? What is your total addressable market? Do they have a bleeding problem that you can solve? What specific frameworks are you going to use in order to solve that problem for them? How much time are you going to be taking in order to get them to that desired outcome? And finally, why you? Okay? And if you can solve these problems, then you can position yourself in this third layer and you can charge quite a lot of more money. And essentially, once you've done all of this work, you're going to essentially entail some guarantees as well. That, as an example, if you don't get the result, we'll work with you for free until you get it. Okay? And with scarcity, what you can do is we only open this program twice a year. Okay? And in order to do this ethically, I want you to charge quite a lot in order to make sure that you make your time's worth during the time that you do open the program. And thirdly, with urgency. With urgency, what you're going to do is, if you buy before X date, you can get X, Y, and Z bonuses. But if you buy after that date, you can't get those bonuses. Or as an example, you can say that if you buy before this date, you can buy it at this price, but if you buy it after this date, then the price is going to increase. So you're going to add urgency, you're going to add scarcity, you're going to add some guarantees, you're going to identify, is your total addressable market, large enough? Is your total addressable market or your ideal customer facing a bleeding problem? What specific framework are you going to be using in order to solve that problem? How much time are you going to be taking? Why you? And once you've done all of this work, then you're going to have a killer offer, my friend. So let's recap. If your offer isn't converting, it's not because people can't afford it. It's because your offer isn't irresistible yet. I want you to build your offer around transformation and not just features. Make your promise clear, package it as a system, and then justify the value. Again, if you want to work with me and you're a creator, consultant, or founder, I basically help you guys increase 10,000 followers on Instagram while 2xing your business revenue within 90 days using the authority hacking framework, which I personally used to gain 315,000 Instagram followers within 365 days while only working once a week. And if you want to work with me, you can click the link in the description and book a free strategy call, and I'll see if we're a good fit to work together or not. At the end, remember that for those of us climbing to the top of the food chain, there can be no mercy, my friend. There is but one rule: hunt or be hunted. Thanks for watching.